Buenos dias, buenos tardes. Good evening, everybody. It's your main man, Shannon. Welcome to the Car Chronicles. And on this today, on this episode of the road trip, we have something special. We have a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur, a visionary, a philanthropist, a speaker, the luckiest woman on the planet. My dear wife, Amber Stewart. Amber, welcome to today's road trip. How you doing today?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to give us the 30-second elevator pitch of who Amber Stewart is.
Thank you so much. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a child of God, I'm an entrepreneur, a solopreneur. I'm heavily involved in volunteer work. We founded a nonprofit. I'm a Toastmaster, a Seroptimist, and a multi-business owner. I love to serve my community and I love to network and share my gifts with the world. That's my 30-second pitch.
So, I think you said it perfectly. You have been an independent business owner since you were like 20. I mean, maybe younger than that, because I remember when you first became a Mary Kay independent beauty sales consultant. And I remember saying this, guys, I said this. So, this is how you know that we weren't married at the time. This is how you might know that some people may not know what God has in store for you. I said, you'll be foolish if you give these broads your, your money and your information. There's no way this foolishness is going to work. So for 20 years, or since you were 20, you've been an independent business owner. How have you seen things change for women business owners in the last 20 plus years that you've owned a business?
The company that I sell products for has not changed in their fundamentals, but we have changed in the business scope of things. Economically, we have moved more online and more virtual and more economically sound for the times, if you'll say. As far as what I have done, I haven't changed my business model since I started. It's really finding a need and filling it. I like to consider myself an image and a beauty consultant. I teach women, girls as young as right before puberty hits, all the way to women in their 70s, how to take care of their skin and apply makeup. I've become a certified makeup artist 3 times, and I love to share these gifts and these talents because I feel like when a woman knows how to do this and how to have a good representation of herself, she'll feel better. She'll show up better in her community. I don't feel like, as far as the business model or what I've been doing in business has changed, except during the COVID shutdown, I went virtual, which allowed me to have customers all over the United States, which was an awesome addition to my business. And I've kept that piece. So I do stay virtual. And it allows for places here like Los Angeles where we might not want to drive an hour, where for somebody that's really 20 minutes away, we'll just hop on a quick Zoom or FaceTime to consult. But overall, I've been doing the same things.
So as you talk about, I talk about this frequently in a lot of the speaking I do. I tell people, according to the scripture, it says your gifts make room for you and put you in front of men. So talk about some of the gifts, because I think as you talk about a lot of the, and we'll talk a little bit about this later, but a lot of the other businesses that you do, they're based off your God-given and um, talents, gifts, and abilities. Talk about that. How did you know this was the right thing for you? And going from that, how do you continue to inspire women to come alongside of you in this journey?
I knew that it was the right thing for me to get into a business like this because I come from a place of low self-confidence and low self-esteem and not thinking that I looked good and not believing in myself. So when I had the opportunity to change that about myself, I realized that I wanted to pass that on in the world. And I realized that women would show up differently. They would awaken themselves. They would answer the call if they felt confident. And so I really, my business now is called Amber's Confidence Collective because all the things I do is to instill confidence in people, especially women. I feel like we rise up and we become who we're really supposed to be if we feel great about ourselves, if we look great about ourselves, and we show up in the world in a different way. And so when I first started out, it was because it had worked for me and it had changed how I saw myself. And I wanted to do that for other women. I also help men, but most of it is empowering women.
So as you think about it, I mean, it's interesting that you say it from that vantage point, because when we always talk about this as we go out and talk about the gospel of Christ to people, that it's interesting that you'll talk about people about great dry cleaners, great restaurants. Hey, I went to this place; it was a great dessert. But how often do we talk about the love of Christ for people, God's love for people, but also how often do we talk about empowering people with love for themselves. So I'm sure that in the last, 20 plus years, you've seen some ups and downs, but from what I got from what you just talked about, there were some uncomfortable moments there where you had to step outside of your comfort zone to get the true meaning of what God has in store for you and yield the most of your business. So talk a bit about that.
There's a lot of vulnerability in just being a business owner, right? And if you've ever started a business on your own or joined as I did as an independent contractor, there's a lot of vulnerability. You're just raw in front of people. You're learning, you're new, you're figuring it out. There's ups and downs, there's lots of no's. There's more no's than yeses, and that teaches you a lot about yourself, especially when there's the motivation to keep going really solely relies on you. If you don't work, you don't get paid. It's if you work, you eat. If you don't, you don't. And more so to get the Mary Kay always said to get the pennies out of your eyes. So we're not trying to find the dollar. It's really about the people that we're in front of and building relationships. And I've just always adapted the idea of when I'm sitting with someone to build them up and leave them better than I found them. It's really not about what I get from them. It's more about what I can leave them with, what I'm giving. And then in return, the giving comes back tenfold to me because it's a lucrative business opportunity, it's residual. And when women are loving their skin and their makeup, they will constantly use it. So it's a great business model to be a part of.
So as you talk about that, because I think people know you, and both of us, I think we fall into that space now. I remember speaking with then Assembly Speaker Anthony Rendon, and he said one day, he goes, "Hey, you have a regular job? I thought you just fed the homeless." And so I think people think you just, are out peddling makeup or not understanding the image piece, that consultative piece. But on top of that, you do a ton of other stuff. You're a speaker, you run a notary business, Amber's Notary Amber, the traveling notary. Um, talk about some of those other things because you've reinvented yourself two or three times with a number of the things that you do.
Thank you for that. You've been along with me the journey the whole time. I became a notary public when my son was two, I believe, and I've kept my commission up ever since then. For me, that fulfills a need, and I serve people through that by way of being a traveling notary. I'm able to go into places where they cannot get out, and so I do feel fulfilled in that. My notary business allows me to help with estate planning, loans, refis, all of that, just regular old docs. And I am on Yelp as Amber the Traveling Notary. And I also did start a speaking business. I've been speaking and coaching in my image and beauty consultant business for over 25 years. And when you feel like you've gone through something and it's changed you and you've come out on the other side of something, like the test turned into the testimony, you do feel like you want to share it. So my business is actually my ministry in which I get to help people. I then came upon some volunteer opportunities through Seroptimus. It's a international women's organization. It literally stands for Best for Women, and we raise money. We put the fun in fundraising, and we raise money for women and girls in the community. And I love the group of women that I'm working with there, and that is solely volunteer work. I don't get paid for any of that, but we put on the Lakewood Run in Lakewood the first Saturday of every March. And I love to party plan and I love to help people. So it just kind of is a great partnership. And then I also became a Toastmaster, and Toastmasters developed me as a leader in many ways that I thought I had down before, but I've really grown a lot. With my business presentation, I felt like I could do it kind of, with my eyes closed, half asleep. I've been giving the same spiel for 20 something years, and I really wanted to get better at speaking off the cuff and going on the fly and just networking better. And table topics in Toastmasters really helped me with that. I recommend everybody look into Toastmasters. Every single John Maxwell book I've ever read, it says that every leader needs to have at least 1 year of Toastmasters in their life. And it's not a place where we drink. Everybody jokes about it's a drinking club. We don't actually toast. We speak, and it's public speaking and leadership development. And it's a fun, comfortable, uncomfortable place to grow without the judgment because we're all there for the same reason. So I love Toastmasters. I'm now a division director. I oversee over 20 clubs and I help start new clubs and I help Toastmasters catch the vision and grow themselves. And what's really rewarding about that is seeing people in their business life and in their everyday life take what they've learned and apply it there. And man, you can see the growth from their first speech till when they're leading the meeting, and it's just so rewarding. So, in that, it's men and women, but all along the same lines, I'm helping to build confidence so people will show up in the world and be better leaders.
So, and it's funny because as you talk about Toastmasters, and I tell everybody this, and now I'm a Toastmaster also. I'm not a distinguished Toastmaster, but I'm a Toastmaster nonetheless. And I tell people this that you forget the importance of being able to communicate effectively to everyone. And like I've been being paid to speak for a number of years, and then so when Amber said, "Hey, I'm going to be a Toastmaster," I didn't know anything about the organization. And then because I was like, I'm already a speaker, like people already pay me to speak. But then as I joined Toastmasters and then got involved, it really opened my eyes because it's not as if you're doing the Toastmaster solely for you. It's for you to continue to inspire everyone else. We talk about this and on the road trip. We empower, we encourage, we embrace. And as Amber talked about being a speaker, one thing that stood out to me is that I am not a prepared speaker. So I don't go and I don't read a script or, if I go somewhere, I don't, and they give me a script, I'll be like, yeah, okay, just tell me what the gist of it is and I'll keep it moving. And Toastmasters has kind of helped me hone that piece of the Keep Living in Victory and kind of some of the things that we do. So as Amber has talked about it, and then I just caught myself because I said, So guys, listen, as a Toastmaster, that's what you do. You understand ums and ahs, so transitional words. So I'll tell you guys this quick story. One day I'm speaking at an event, and so our 12-year-old daughter Ava's with me, and so she goes, "Hey, Dad, they gave you this packet that you're supposed to read." And I was like, "I'm not reading that." And so we're sitting there, and she asked me, she goes, "Hey, why don't you read this?" And I was like, "Well, 9 times out of 10, I don't have my backpack with my glasses in it. And so if I get up there and I can't see it, so I just ask Amber, I'll go, hey, what does this say? And she'll give me the gist of it, and I'll be like, all right, this is what we're talking about today. And then I'll just make it work. But Amber hit it on the head. And I want you to talk a little bit more about that, about you being able to now transition from being a solopreneur, you working for yourself, focused on what you do, to now being a leader. And I talk about this in leader versus manager, developing now, people that work for cities, people that work for themselves to become effective communicators. So talk about that development piece and what you've got from Toastmasters.
What I've really learned about being a great leader is not just being able to lead and have people following you, but being able to duplicate that ability and have people who are following you also become leaders, because that's the most rewarding part. It's not all about me, it's about me watching them transform. And I've watched that as I was president of my Sir Optimus Club. I have a board of, I think, 9 or 10. That was very apparent. Most of the women are professional women and they're already leaders, but just watching that growth and that transformation, but especially in Toastmasters, the leadership versus manager is a very interesting concept because we're not managing people, we are really leading them. And my division is E, which is for excellence. And so I'm always thanking everybody for their excellence and showing up with level 10 excellence, level 10 confidence. And sometimes you don't really know what the next step is, but you have to put yourself out there. And if people trust you as a leader, they'll follow you and they'll believe you. And that's what happened. I started a club at the Lakewood Family YMCA. We started this endeavor probably 2 years ago, and we chartered about a year ago. And it's now, it was my idea with the help of the executive director at the time at the YMCA, our good friend Mario. And now it's 25 people that meet with me twice a month, and I'm literally watching them change and become better at everything. And it's very rewarding. So the leader in me is more fulfilled by watching the leader and everybody else to rise up.
And so, it's funny that Amber is now involved in a number of community-based organizations. And I remember a couple of years ago, she would always say, hey, look, you do too much. And I was like, look, if you get involved in one community-based organization, you'll be involved in a whole bunch of them. And she's like, nah, I'll be fine. And I think at that time, I was the chairman of the YMCA board. I was on Meals on Wheels. I was on the board of the African American Credit Union Coalition. We run our own nonprofit. And so now we live a life of service geared at serving the underserved, but helping put people in a different space tomorrow than they're in today. So, Amber, you talked about a bit about some of the things we do. I sit on the board of the Lakewood Family YMCA, the greatest Y in all the land, and I believe that because I'm involved in something, it should be the best. I should. She just said that It's division E for excellence. Like if the stewards are involved in something, it should be the best that there is, and people should know that there's something different about it. It could be the anointing of God that rests upon us, and now rests upon stuff we're involved with. But I want you to talk a bit, Amber, about Helping Hands Giving Hope, how we founded Helping Hands Giving Hope, and how the experience that you have and all of the other things you do benefits Helping Hands Giving Hope, and how Helping Hands Giving Hope benefits you and those things.
Thank you so much for that question. The founding of Helping Hands Giving Hope was a collaborative effort between you, me, and our son. It started with a blessing bag, which is a gallon-sized Ziploc bag with food and items in it that we made at his school and then proceeded to give out and then proceeded to make more of them. And it came to me, the logo idea came to me, you and I collaborated on the name, and then we just started to ask people if they wanted to be involved. And everybody really did want to be involved. It was very easy to spread like wildfire. They want to get behind it. They want to know where should we start? What should we do? Just start where you are with what you have. And the idea of our helping hands to give hope to people changed almost monthly. We had years where we did several blessing bag events, and then we started to notice needs on different holidays. I think we're in our eighth annual chemo care bag campaign, which is coming up October 18th at the Lakewood Family YMCA. And you can find us on social media, both Instagram and Facebook, as Helping Hands Giving Hope. We post all of our events and we encourage everybody to come and join us because we need more helping hands. There's been a couple of events where it's been my family's helping hands and that was it, based on availability or I don't know. But we're going to do it anyway. I have the opinion that the movie plays at 2 p.m., whether there's 3 people in the theater or 100 people in the theater, the show goes on. So we have done chemo care bags, we've done Thanksgiving meals, we've done baskets for kids in the hospital with cancer. We've done blanket drives, sleeping bag drives. We've done backpacks and school supplies in the summertime. There's a plethora of different events that we do throughout the year, and it kind of has branched out to what we feel called to do. And upon having more of a following of people, are you guys doing the food? Are you guys doing the chemo care bags? So now people are looking forward to it. Oh, it's October. Are you guys doing your event? Yes. So we are keeping a consistent calendar. But the founding of it, it really was about 10 years ago, and it has grown. And I think I benefit again from the ability to bless other people, but also having people to come alongside of us and join us in that. Just this past Thanksgiving, my son's entire basketball team, there was probably 30 of them, came to the YMCA and formed a humongous muscular assembly line of turkeys. And we were unloading trucks and loading trucks. And it was just so cool to see. I could kind of step back and look for a second at, wow, I know I kind of orchestrated this event and set it up, but look at how many people are here wanting to serve other people. And this is their opportunity to do that. So it was a really cool full circle moment where you get to see like these people want to do this. They just need somebody to take charge and to make it available for them to come and serve. A lot of people don't know how to like do it on their own. So I just feel like I'm a facilitator of group events where we we provide the opportunity and thankfully our donors and our supporters help to provide the supplies and that's really what we do.
So it's funny because here, I'm going to share this photo. Let me see if I can share it. Can you see this photo? You can see this photo. So this was the first blessing bag event we ever did. We got the event, or we got the bags, we made the bags, and then this is Shannon Jr. He was 6. This was October 4th, 2015. Uh, this is Amber, Yolanda, and Todd Dietrich, and their son Andrew. Ava is 2. She's here in a stroller. And so when you think about it, this started from an idea, right? And I always tell people that because the one thing that people ask us all the time is they go, how do I get started? What if I wanted to do something like this? What do I do? We're like, just do something. In the midst of this, my mom was sick with cancer. I'd been out of work for, I don't know, like 8 or 9 months, and we were just figuring out what can we do next. And we started doing this, and it went from us doing that, and I think that was like 100 bags. And then in 2016, we did 10 meals that we had driven around and knocked on people's door and been like, hey, your pastor said you needed a meal for Thanksgiving. This person said you needed a meal. And then in 2016, or 2017, we did a blessing bag within a month. And then we did 20 meals. And then in 2018, we did a blessing bag within a month, chemo care, backpacks, Christmas toy drive, and we gave away 225 meals. 2019, we did 250. 2020, in the midst of COVID, we did 300 and all of those other things. So it's kind of morphed into other things. And now, it's funny when we did our backpack drive, a month or so ago, Shannon Jr. pulls me aside afterwards and he was like, "This is the last year you guys will be doing this. I'll take this over from here." We're like, "Great." I mean, I'm like, it's not, let me be honest with you, listeners and viewers. I'm looking into the camera. It's not that I do a whole bunch for this anyway. Like, I go out and I just go, "Hey guys, I'm Shannon Stewart, and this is what we do." And I talk to people and I negotiate getting money from them. And, I get money and we buy the stuff we need and we go out and do, and I develop the relationships. But when it's time for the rubber to meet the road, they're like, "All right, you get the hell out of the way." And then let us real people get the work done. And so when Amber said Shannon Jr.'s basketball team came, literally the whole basketball program showed up, coaches and everybody. And so it was literally like you're talking about a great effort of everybody involved. Volunteers brought volunteers. I mean, it was so amazing. Let me see, Amber, talk a bit about this, and I'll find this picture while you're talking about it. But I want you to talk a bit about the growth and the growth of your vision when it's unexpected. God doesn't show you the whole thing because I think if He did it, it would scare us away. So talk about how we've grown in the last since 2015 to now.
Well, the most recent thing I can think of is working with Miles at the YMCA and the youth program. We started there. We did Lakewood Parks and Rec with our kids' sports, and then we moved to the YMCA. And during one of the board meetings, Shannon had an idea. We were trying to figure out what we could do for the kids, and he said he wanted to do bikes. And one of the board members kind of like laughed about it and joked about it. And so then we got very determined and we did.
Point of order. That's a Toastmaster thing, guys. Point of order is this. Amber's being very kind because that's not really what happened. I came to her and I said, "Listen, hey, I promised them we'll give away bikes. I really messed up because I don't know where we're gonna get bikes." And Amber goes, "How many did you tell them we give them?" I was like, 100. And she goes, "Do we have money for 100 bikes?" And I go, "Nope." And she goes, "Well, you better figure something out. You better go get to praying and figure something out because they expecting to get these bikes." So I'm sorry. Continue on.
That's okay. So we did. We gave more than 100, and we had this event, and all the kids came in the gym, and we had the partition drop down, and they thought they were there for something else. I'm not sure if we were eating or coloring or something, and then all of a sudden we stood there in front, and then they raised the thing, and then the kids, it was like a just a TV moment. I think we have it on recording, but the kids are running to the bikes. Everybody gets a bike. Felt like Oprah with the car. You get a bike, you get a bike. And for me, that growth was just the testimony of if you build it, they will come. If you decide that you're going to do something and people come behind you, you can basically do anything that your mind can conceive, you can achieve. And so that was the growth. Also, I messed up the first time that we had a food delivery for Thanksgiving. Thanks to the ILWU Local 13. There's our picture. That's our entire basketball team on our Thanksgiving event. That's so awesome. There's my son there on the ground there. The very first time that my friend Katie reached out and said, "Hey, we want to help your nonprofit be able to give food out," I said, "Great." She said, "Can you do about 6 pallets?" And I was like, "Sure." I don't know what a pallet was, didn't know the size of a pallet, didn't know how much a pallet weighed. I said, "My husband has a pickup truck. We'll be fine. What time should we pick it up?" Then I come tell him, and he says, 6 pallets? And then we had to go find a refrigerated 18-wheeler. No, I'm just kidding. What was it? Like a big, huge box truck. Anyway, the relationship worked out because an organization that we partner with needed it, had a truck, and then it was a marriage. So the Lord will always work it out. I don't turn down anything. I don't say no to anything. I want to be a conduit. And if I say, "Lord, I'm willing, use me," I have to mean that. So I agreed to pick up 6 pallets of food. And we did. We picked up 6 pallets of food and it was amazing. And at the time, I think it's closed down now, but at the time we were partnering with the Grateful Hearts Storehouse in Los Alamitos. And like I said, it was a year that the fires had come and they Albertsons had to not give them turkeys or something. So we said, we'll give you turkeys if you help us pick up all this food and we can use your parking lot to put together our bags. And they said, okay. So I just firmly believe that God is in the details, and if you're willing, it will always work out.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, I think an important thing is understanding that the relationships that you have when you're out doing God's work, people want to help. One of our biggest supporters last year is Inline Trucking. Good friend of mine, Robert Molina. He owns Roxanne's down in Long Beach. So if you're in Long Beach, check out Roxanne's. They have a meeting space now, so check them out. But Inline Trucking, they do port to land transport. And, we had a number of stuff that we had to get. And so I reached out to him just to say, not knowing that this is fully what he did, I just reached out to go, hey, can you give me some insight? Because this is what we're looking to do. And he goes, what insight do you need? I was like, we need some insight because we got to get this. This is what we're looking for. He was like, oh no, you don't need any insight. I'll just pick the stuff up for you. And I was like, huh? He was like, yeah, we'll pick it up and then we'll just drop it off the next day at the YMCA. Don't worry about it. Now and his exact words were this. This is how it's important, guys. I said what our need was, and his exact words were, now you don't have to worry about that. That's not a need of yours now because that's a need of mine. I'll take care of that. Now you just go through and worry about serving these people. Boom, a light bulb moment. And so even with Grateful Hearts in 2018, again, Amber's painting me as this man of faith. My exact words were this: you've ruined us and you've told these people all this shit and we're never gonna get a donation again. And then within a week, a guy had called me and said, hey, look, I partner with an organization. They had donations coming from a large grocer and they backed out on them last minute, literally like 10 days out. We call them. They were like, yeah, we can pick your stuff up. What's that? Well, we can feed your. They only had 110 families. We're getting like 300 meals, 300 turkeys. I was like, we can feed your families. Boom. It worked just like that. So we say that to say this because people always ask us, what can I do to get started? I always say, just get started. Just get started and that's it. It'll all work out. Amber, so let me ask you this because I know you're short on time. You spend a lot of time out in the community. We both sit on a bunch of boards. How do you balance um, being hot, you know, a sexy vixen at home, and being a mom and a wife? How do you balance all that with all these other things you do?
A long time ago, I decided that I would follow the principles of the very first company that I joined as an independent contractor, and I put God first, family second, and everything else third, literally business third. I believe in that order, everything works out. If you're prioritizing God, family, business, or God, family, everybody else, you will find a way or make a way. That's the kind of girl I am, a find a way, make a way kind of girl. And I want to just take a moment to remind everybody that we literally, in all of the places that we serve or people know us, we could not do what we do and we could not be of impact the way that we are if we didn't have a network to call upon. Networking is so, so important. I've joined chambers. I sit on the board of the Bellflower Chamber. Just in attending networking events and everywhere I go, having the reach to understand that it's not about what do you do for business? Oh, do I want your business? Yes or no? Like, if you don't want me to help you with your skincare and makeup, then what? We're just not going to exchange info? Like, oh, no, thank you. And then that's it. You have no idea what else I do and the network of people that I could connect you with. So, oftentimes it's a very judgmental place to sit, and we want to get outside of ourselves and we want to say, oh, if you are, I don't know, what's a good example? If you are a car salesman and I'm not looking for a car, then we don't need it. I don't need your info. But you might have a family member that owns a trucking company and I might need a truck one day or something like that. So the networking is so, so important because when you build up a network of people that you can call upon and exchange information or be the connector of people, Shannon's really great at that. He is a connector of people. Somebody will contact him with an idea or a request, and he will think, you know what? I think I know somebody that does that. Let me call him real quick and see if that can work out. That's really like the fundamental place of how we can thrive as a community is think about it if it was like the olden days. Somebody was the teacher, somebody was the carpenter, somebody knew how to weld, somebody knew how to farm. It's everybody together using all your gifts and talents. It's not just me and all the great things I know how to do. It's not just Shannon and all the great things he knows how to do. It's the people that we all know that when the community needs something, we have people to call and people to call on. Love Robert, love that he helped us. He's such a great guy. And I love Roxanne's and all the things that he's involved with. I love the YMCA and the relationships that we built there. They allow us to use their space when we do our events, which is so helpful because we don't have to pay to rent someplace to do these things. So networking for me is the most important part of service because you need people to come alongside of you. You need the resources. And like, think of it, when we started Helping Hands Giving Hope, we had philanthropists wanting to donate money and we weren't even a 501(c)(3) yet. So we literally had to go do that so that we could make their donation tax deductible. So we had the time and they wanted us to use their money to do it. It was kind of like that was their impact. They knew that if they were funding it, that they were happy with like I made that happen. And then we went and made that happen. And it's just a great partnership. So I think that if you're not networking, it doesn't even matter if you have a business. Make a business card with your picture on it because I'm a firm believer that everybody's business card should have a picture on it so that you're memorable. And put your name, your phone number, your email, and just give it out to people. When you're out meeting people, just say, oh my gosh, I do know somebody like that. Here's my card. Let's connect. And then the most important part of this whole relationship is actually connect with them later. Actually reach out to them later. Send a quick email. Hey, I met you at the chamber event. Remember me? I'm the girl that does blah, blah, blah. Can we set a 5 minute or a 15-minute call? Can we meet up for coffee? And then when you get together with people, that's the time that you talk to them and figure out everything they do. People have no idea all the other things I do. They just think I'm a notary public because I'm at the chamber networking. Sorry, that was a really long-winded response, but network, network, network. Build up your network of people because when it comes time to how do I get started? What do I do? You'll have people to come alongside of you and you'll have a lot of different wisdom to draw from, a lot of different experiences to draw from, a lot of different industries to draw from. And you'll go further with a lot more people than going by yourself. You'll go faster, but when you go with a lot more people, you'll reach more people.
So, and I'm so appreciative that you talked about that because I say this to people all the time. I'm Shannon from the Hub City, and I was like, that's why I'm from Compton, the Hub City, because I'm a hub for people. I build my entire life on being able to say, hey, I may know somebody. Now, what I've learned in that is that you have to be a man of honor and integrity, valor. You can't be a shade tree guy. But I got a good friend, Joe Giuliani, and he makes these little cards, and it looks like it's like a target, right? And on the back it says Joe Giuliani, transformation broker. He does real estate and all that stuff, and he gives these out to folks. And then he has these little like cartoon Jesus statues that he hands out to people. But that's his thing, right? And so when we think about this, we think about impact and influence. You know, there's Mario Vargas, for the CEO of the Long Beach YMCA Association. His wife Cheryl says this. She goes, "People always talk about 5 T's." So we're out one day having a glass of wine in San Diego. She goes, "No, Shannon, there's 7 T's: time, talent, treasure, ties, testimony, transparency, and trust." 7 T's. These are the 7 things that people find relationships on. So Amber, we'll get you out of here with this. I'm going to ask you 2 things, and you can sum it up. Number one, what's next for you? And I want you to answer that and then go out on this. What advice would you give to people following their passion? God's calling them to do something. How did they get started?
Thank you so much for that question. What's next for me this year? I'm serving in the capacity of Division E Director for Toastmasters District 1, and I'm really passionate about starting clubs. I don't get paid to do this. It's a total volunteer effort, but we have a goal to start more clubs in the community. So if anybody listening to this is interested in attending, I know meetings on every day of the week, during the day and at night. I know them in person and I know them on Zoom. So if you are at all interested, please reach out. I can get you plugged in to visit and you can check it out and see if it's for you. We're starting a few clubs this year, and I have a team of area directors that I'm building in leadership, and I hopefully can pass the vision on to them and they might want to step up. I'm also building in my speaking business. I'm going to become DISC certified and a certified behavioral consultant so that I can share that opportunity with companies, C-suites, employers for their employees. And I'll be speaking more, doing more like one-on-one and group trainings in that way. I think that personality assessments, as far as leadership development goes, is so important. And if you don't know what DIS or C stands for, reach out to me and let me know because I would love to tell you I've been using it for 25 years and it is very, very helpful and monumentally important to you as a leader in any space. And I'm also looking at colleges for my 11th grade son. So hopefully some college visits are coming up. And I dedicate all the next year to just helping him figure that part of his life out and get off, graduated and get off to college. And my daughter will be starting high school. So it'll be like, oh, we finished one and we're on with the next. So that's really what I'm really working for next. And my advice, is that what you're asking for? My advice to everybody? My advice to you would be to find what gives you joy that you would do for free and then do it, whether you get paid to do it or not. I know that everybody's heard that you need 5 different hobbies, one that makes you happy, one that makes you money, one that helps you develop as a leader. And I forgot what the other two are, but I really do believe that. Don't just sit there and drive all on the money. Don't be all career driven. Don't be all about the money. Don't be about making money. Find another avenue or multiple avenues where you are doing things just because for the love of it, the joy of it, the fun of it. What about the things that serve others that you don't get anything out of? Well, you might get something out of, but find something like that too. For me, my Seroptimus Club and my Toastmaster journey has filled those voids. Also, make weekly date nights with your partner and spend time with your kids one on one, each of them, not only family time days, but take your kids out by themselves and ask them open-ended questions. You can ask ChatGPT or you can go on to Pinterest and look for questions to get kids to talk or look for table topic questions. We use those in Toastmasters just to get to know your kids and spend time with them one-on-one and make you a safe place for them to share their feelings because if you say, how was school today? They're going to say, good, and then they're going to shut up. So you have to ask them questions that make them talk. In our house, we do something. If you want to institute this every night, you can, but we eat dinner together as much as we possibly can, even if it's at 9:30 at night after everybody's practices. We do highs, we do lows. We say in what way did we recognize God's love in our life? What's our intention for tomorrow? And then we appreciate everybody specifically for something that day. So I'll go first. My high today was being on this podcast with Shannon. My low today was what's going on in the world and all the division. I'm seeing God's love in my life, how He showed up for me by giving me a family and kids and being able to take care of them and cook for them. My intention for tomorrow is to have joy and gratitude. And I appreciate my husband for being a great leader of our house and my daughter and my son for this or that, for being hard workers and great students. And then everybody in my house goes around, okay, whose turn is it? And then they take a turn. And really, it just invokes conversation. So I would give those items of advice. Pick one and do it. But obviously, do something for the joy, the love, and the fun of it, and look for ways to serve people because when you get outside yourself, life is so much more fun.
Well, thank you so much, Amber, for joining us today on this episode of the Car Chronicles. Guys, look, I'll post Amber's link in the YouTube description. Gentlemen, please don't slide in her DMs because I'm a gun toter. I'm only joking, but I'm serious. I am on the streets. I'm outside. So, guys, thank you. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Car Chronicles. I'm Shannon Stewart. I love you. God loves you. And until next time, keep living in victory. Have a great day, everybody.